It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America. We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome. Good morning.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and happy birthday in a day.
Oh, thank you.
To you, yes.
Thank you. It was my birthday yesterday. I turned 60. So now I have the right to not care. I don't care. It's the old guy right. I'm in my 60s now. It's the old guy right. And sitting around during our break, by the way, that was a long break.
Mm-hmm.
We really missed you guys. Thank you, Dan Mandis, who, by the way, is one of, if not the hardest working guy in radio.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a really hard worker, and we love having him here when we're not here. So thank you, Dan. Great job. Thank you. But it was such a long break. I mean, I feel like so much has happened. When we left, we were sending people to Venezuela. We come back in the new year, and apparently we're bringing them here.
You know the best thing that I saw on social media? What the hell is Trump sending him to New York City for? What? He's really going to get radicalized now.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, is this be closer to Mamdani so Mamdani could have visitation? What is this?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Just a quick audio cut.
All right.
We'll talk about it later, but I had it all ready to go.
All right.
Just to start it up, just to end a point here.
Okay.
And end this point. Here we go. Here's Mamdani.
All right.
We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism.
So,
yeah.
all the left out there, he's not a communist. He's a Democrat socialist.
Uh-huh.
He's not a communist.
Yeah.
He's not a communist.
Right.
He's not. Guess what? He's a commie.
He's a commie. He's a commie.
The Democrats were trying to defend him. No, he may be a socialist, but he's not a communist. He's not a communist.
Right.
You can't get more communist than that statement.
Right. You think if Maduro sees P. Diddy in the cafeteria at lunch, you think it's kind of awkward?
I forgot. I happened to see it. There was some football coach. Maduro's team won today. And I'm looking and I go, oh, my God, the guy looks like him. It was hilarious.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. And I also kept thinking, no soup for you. Also, in the one picture, why is he wearing VR goggles? That was weird. Those blackout, basically blinders, is what they put on him.
But yeah, it was. This is a kind like over the weekend. It's like no, don't even think about. Don't even go back. You will as you get through the week. Don't even go back and look at all the different stories.
No, I've got them all bookmarked.
Your mind will be too confused by the time you get on the air.
I bookmarked them, and obviously my bookmarks will go chronological. So I go through the day, and I'm like, so yesterday, actually, a few hours ago, kind of rehashing everything, and I went back and I was like, oh, that was so 7 days ago.
You know what hit me?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. It was yesterday. It was like, well, this week the reality is going to hit about Obamacare, the subsidies. I went, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
God, that seems like 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But
it was a very long break, and we really did miss you guys. Of course, the weekend, and I got so many messages. These things with like bombing Iran and all these other major stories, all these major events, all these Trump moves that happen when we're not here.
Yeah.
Listen, we can't tell you. So sorry. We can't speak about it.
When I woke up on Saturday morning,
yeah,
I was like, I'm reading this wrong.
Yeah, no, I was awake. when it started.
Were you? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I wasn't.
Yeah,
Oh,
I had trouble sleeping pretty much throughout the whole break, but I was pretty much keeping my regular schedule, right?
mm-hmm.
So it started breaking, and later in the morning, yeah, I when the first couple of notifications came across, and my wife is asleep, and I'm trying not to wake her up, and I'm always vocalizing, like I'm always going like, oh my gosh, what now or whatever, and I'm trying not to vocalize. I'm like, what is this? But I thought this can't be right, and then sure enough, as things developed, and it turned out to be basically let's give Maduro a free flight to New York City, and as that fell out, I thought, well, now we have to make the popcorn for the liberal response to this, and of course, that started pretty much immediately. I was talking to my dad about that. My dad, lifetime military career, law enforcement, intel. He was very impressed. Dad was very impressed. I talked to him Saturday morning with the special operations, the way that it was handled, the procedure of how it was handled, at least what we knew then. Delta Force, the 160th, which is specializes in these low altitude aviation missions. They were responsible for getting, in fact, the 160th. They were responsible for getting SEAL Team 6 to the compound in Pakistan at 0 dark 30 to get Osama bin Laden. So all of that planning and everything else, and then what we learned even more throughout the weekend after I talked to my dad, I'm sure he was impressed with. We'll have a nice little talk show when I visit him next, as we always do in his living room. But it's, you look at that situation, and the left was, of course, all over the place. The inconsistencies from Connecticut's Chris Murphy, Chuck Schumer, and others who've been screaming about this, by the way, for years.
Yeah, and we'll have some of that audio coming up here in just a little bit. I'll tell you one thing that I did. One thing that, because we were off for a significant period of time, that hit me is the fact that if I didn't do this for a job,
mm-hmm.
where I talked about it every day, I probably would shut off a significant portion of the media. I understand why people tune out.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, because it's our job to analyze what the media is doing.
And I enjoy doing it, but if I wasn't analyzing it and then, doing it on the show. I had to ask the question. I said, would I be paying attention to this? Because it's almost like, stop it. Well, when I say that in anything else in my life, when I just say, hey, stop it, well, I tune it out.
Right.
And I don't this because I enjoy analyzing it and doing it for a job. But if I had no outlet, it's why at this age I did realize I can't retire.
No, that's the whole thing. It would have I think I texted you. I don't know if I did, but this is why I just can't. I can't retire. I don't have. I'm nowhere close, because once you get into, and we really do love doing this job. Once you get into that, it is your hobby. It's
a drug.
It's everything.
It's a drug.
It's everything.
It's a drug.
And it's, if I'm sitting, like if stuff is breaking, and it was breaking over the weekend, and my wife and I were out and about on Saturday, if it's not breaking, I'm not looking at my phone. But if we're like sitting down to eat somewhere and I'm looking at my phone, she knows it's breaking news, because I'm not one of those who's, I'm not on social media to, look at somebody posting something from America's Got Talent. No, America's Got Maduro. That's what I'm interested in. I'm following breaking news, and Barb goes, more stories, more news, and she knows. I mean, my wife knows everything that, the whole habit thing. But that is, it's more than addictive. It becomes part of you. And, so it's, the longer breaks get tougher and tougher.
What I was noticing, and like I said, we'll have the audio coming up, whether it was Margaret Brennan or Stephanopoulos, it's almost like this is what's communicated to me. I'm angry because you succeeded in doing this, and I've got to find something wrong.
Oh, yeah.
That's what
and they think they've got it. When the
Yeah.
cameras turn on those Sunday morning news shows, and you can tell. Because Sunday, I mean, they all appear at times on other shows, but Sunday's the big game, right? So they're sitting down, and when they launch and the show goes live on Sunday morning, you can tell by their positioning, and Brennan with her face. I mean, my gosh, the memes of her body language and face. It was, if you didn't know by now, we're so far beyond bias. Thank you, Bernard Goldberg. But we're so far beyond bias. It is activism. And I remember the first time I said that, I was talking to Sean Spicer. And I said, these liberal media activists in that press room, he goes, I've never heard that before. I said, what? He said, activists. He goes, that's the perfect way to put it.
And it's like, Sean, where have you been all your life?
Yeah, this was during the first Trump term, but I was like, yeah, I mean, that's what they are. And they really believe they've got the gotcha at every turn. I don't know how you haven't learned from this administration yet, because Marco Rubio, his demeanor has changed greatly, and in a positive way, I believe, since becoming Secretary of State. He's somebody who's very confident and will shut you down if you're going down, with Kristen Welker on Sunday, going down the wrong road. And there were a couple of other interviews I think he did, trying to make the point, because there was a little bit. Here's the problem. In reading through what Trump says, sometimes you have to read between the words of what that's going to mean, who's going to be running Venezuela, right?
Yes.
And he's saying we are, but of course the vice president was sworn in, and at first the vice president, well, we're strong on Maduro, and then by late Sunday she's sending out a notice, we're going to have a cooperative agreement with the United States, and blah blah blah, seemed to soften up. But the point is that a lot of the activist media was trying to say, well, Marco Rubio saying, no, we're in charge. Well, the president was saying that too. So you have to understand that the de facto Veep being sworn in, this is not a legitimate administration. They are not recognized, anyone serving in the Maduro administration. She was sworn in, which means two things, diddly and squat. Now the question is, if you look at Trump, again, more proof he's not an isolationist. But beyond that, also he doesn't want to send troops there if it's not necessary. There's a second wave ready. They've been saying this. But him saying, basically, if she cooperates, then we'll basically let her do the work of what we want done until a legitimate election can be held.
Which would be free elections or Maduro getting back into power, but he criticized her.
Right.
I mean, this is where again, it doesn't change the legality or anything.
Right.
It's just the marketing of it. It's like, well, if not Maduro, well, then who?
Right.
She won, in a landslide, and and it's recognized worldwide. He isn't the legitimate president.
Right.
He stole the election. We all know that.
Right.
We know there are indictments, and they look like solid indictments that have been around for 5 years now.
Look, they've been pumping oil at about 18% capacity, according to the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, and they're doing that to line their own pockets. Maduro's been doing that to line his own pockets. They're getting some help from Russia and Iran, but also
China,
the support of Iran and Hezbollah by Venezuela. That can't be ignored. The drug running and all of that, all of this, it's
constitutionally, this was stronger than Panama.
I said that to someone just yesterday morning.
Stronger than Panama?
Yes.
You can say even Clinton getting involved in Bosnia.
Right. Yeah.
The way that he did. Now, I don't look at the situation, all the challenges that the president to me, is politically, not legally. They're not, Democrats aren't going to be able to go anywhere on this legally.
Right.
They claim they can because he said, we're in charge. Well, that means regime change. And you mentioned oil. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you mentioned oil. You went in for the oil. No, he didn't. We don't need their oil.
No.
Now, was the oil used, as Rubio said, was going after that part of the many reasons? Was that the legal reason? No. Is that a reason on top of the legal reasons to stop that from going to China and Russia? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Of course.
Yes.
I could talk about this for a week.
Oh, my gosh.
We've got so much to cover here.
We do.
We are Red Eye Radio.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at JJ Keller. When driving, you need to manage the space around your vehicle so that there's enough space to allow you to adjust when traffic conditions change. The space ahead of your vehicle is the most important. One rule of thumb is to allow at least 1 second for each 10 feet of vehicle length at speeds below 40 miles per hour. At greater speeds, add an additional second. It's impossible to keep other drivers from tailgating you, but there are some things you can do to make it safer, such as increasing your following distance, avoiding quick lane changes, and slowing down. There are also several things you should do to ensure that there is plenty of space between the side of your vehicle and other vehicles. Don't hug the center line, and avoid traveling alongside other vehicles in strong winds. This tip was brought to you by JJ Keller and Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. So first off, just the overview, it's what happened is absolutely constitutional. It's not even it's not even something where you go, but would there be an exception? No, what happened, what the president did was absolutely 100% constitutional.
Yep.
The military action, how it was done again. And, we've criticized in the past when it's a Hegseth. But I'm telling you, my God, you've got to have Russia, you've got to have China, you've got to have other countries, North Korea, looking at this going, my God, they do have the capability. You always wonder whether you have the capability to do something. Yeah, everybody's always wondering whether you do.
Right.
And when you do and you succeed, both in Iran, as we have seen here, and in Venezuela, not one loss of life. And they were under fire from what I've read.
Yes.
They were under massive fire.
Yep. Anti-aircraft.
And it's just when you think about it, that's another thing that we'll talk about coming up, because it was just, that's mind-boggling what the U.S. military is able to do, and it's a credit to Trump and Hegseth. Give credit where credit is due.
Absolutely.
And the military.
Yes.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Let's just play some audio. Let's play the Chuck Schumer here, what Chuck Schumer said back in 2020 about Trump. Here we go.
He brags about all these things he wants to do or is doing, but his actions belie his words. Maybe the best metaphor was his claim to bring democracy to Venezuela. There was a big policy there. It flopped. If the policy was working, Juan Guaido wouldn't be in the balcony here. He'd be in Venezuela. He'd be sitting in the president's palace, or at least waging a fight to win. He's here. And the president brags about his Venezuela policy? Give us a break. He hasn't brought an end to the Maduro regime.
Well, that didn't age well. Kind of like the burger. You took it off the grill too early. You put cheese on that burger too early, Chuck. Once again.
What was the one from Chris Murphy?
From Chris Murphy. I've got that bookmark. Let me go into. I've got so much stuff.
You got the.
I mean, it's like, dude, what? Huh?
It isn't a vacation.
No.
When you have to like have a walk-in closet.
No,
to store everything in for when you come back.
No, it's like, I think Elon Musk looked at my because I store a lot of stuff on. He looked at my X account. It's like, you're gonna have to pay more. But it's let's see here if I can get there's so much stuff I had to bookmark. Oh no. Basically, it was from 2019, the same sentiment. I do have it here. It's the same sentiment, and he posted it somewhere. He may have also said it somewhere in an interview about that. Here it is. From January 23rd of 2019. He posted on X. I guess it was
a Democrat.
Yeah, from Connecticut. If Trump cared about consistency, he would make the realist case for intervention in Venezuela. Getting rid of Maduro is good for the United States. And, of course, he was out over the weekend. This has nothing to do with American security. Venezuela is not a security threat to the U.S. Well, huh? Sorry, dude. You disagree with you.
And let's go to this is Margaret Brennan with Marco Rubio on Face the Nation. Here we go.
Yeah.
I'm confused. Are they still wanted by the United States? Why didn't you arrest them if you are taking out the narco-terrorist regime?
You're confused? I don't know why that's confusing to you.
They're still in power.
It's very simple. You're not going to go in and wrap up. But you can't go. You're going to go in and suck up 5 people. They're already complaining about this one operation. Imagine the howls we would have from everybody else if we actually had to go and stay there 4 days to capture 4 other people. We got the top priority. The number one person on the list was the guy who claimed to be the president of the country that he was not. And he was arrested along with his wife, who was also indicted. And that was a pretty sophisticated and, frankly, complicated operation.
It was.
It is not easy to land helicopters in the middle of the largest military base in the country. The guy lived on a military base. Land within 3 minutes, kick down his door, grab him, put him in handcuffs, read him his rights, put him in a helicopter, and leave the country without losing any American or any American assets. That's not an easy mission. And you're asking me, why didn't we do that in 5 other places at the same time? I mean, that's absurd. I do think this is one of the most, daring, complicated, sophisticated missions this country has carried out in a very long time. Tremendous credit to the U.S. military personnel who did it. It was unbelievable, and tremendous success. And today, an indicted drug trafficker who was not the legitimate president of Venezuela, who we don't recognize, the Biden administration didn't recognize, 60-something countries don't recognize, the European Union doesn't recognize, and many countries in Latin America don't recognize. He was a indicted drug trafficker. He was arrested. His wife was arrested, also
but the
indicted,
others who are also indicted are still
system of courts.
The others who are also indicted are still in place. So that's the point of my questioning there. But you talked about not being the legitimate.
So you wanted
president.
us to land in 5 other military bases?
No, I'm asking why.
So that was going back and forth. Look, here's what has to happen here, and probably in all likelihood what will happen. Rubio also was crystal clear that Washington will not accept the acting president.
Right.
Right. Delcy Rodriguez.
Right.
Staying on for long. We don't believe that this regime in place is legitimate via the election. Now, Trump came out and said, we're in control. What does that mean? Are we going to have boots on the ground? Right now, I would doubt it from where it is now. We'll see. The regime in power says they now wish to have a discussion. Also, Rubio said that they will not allow them to stay in power with empty promises, for change. What has to happen for any type of legitimacy in Venezuela is free elections.
Yeah, ultimately, that is the goal. And, that's another thing you and I have talked about. I think we talked about it with Iraq years ago. But in a situation like this, the people of Venezuela did vote and did not vote for Maduro in 24. And the world knows that. He's not a legitimate head of that country, period. So anybody in his downstream in his administration is also not legitimate. I think the point of Trump is, one of the things that the Wall Street Journal wrote about is that this year, basically since Trump came back, since he started his second term, that he was on board for not going this route. He wanted to do everything possible to give Maduro a chance. Look, go live in exile somewhere. And we saw his posts on social media in recent weeks and comments in the media basically telling him, you got a chance to get out. You got a chance to move on. And I think that's part of Trump as commander-in-chief, not wanting to risk our military lives and resources and not have to make a move like this. But take your regime and get out. Warned him time and time and time and time again. And according to the Wall Street Journal, source story, but, Richard Grenell was kind of on this. With the Biden administration, there were some Americans who were wrongly arrested, and they were holding those Americans. And Biden really didn't get anywhere, of course, on that, because nobody in the Biden administration really cared anything about those Americans that were being held by Venezuela. Well, Trump sends Richard Grenell down there. And there's actually some pictures of him, from earlier this year, shaking hands with Maduro. And then we were able to get deportation planes back to Venezuela, landing again. I think they were doing a couple a week, and we were able to get those. In fact, Richard Grenell was on the plane with those Americans that he brought them home. So that changed, and I guess that maybe gave the president, I'm just guessing, some confidence that Maduro could see the light by the end of the year. And then finally, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, who's been on this mission, look, you're going to have to act because Maduro's not going to make good on promises. Whatever promises Maduro might make to you, he's not going to make. And Rubio's made that case in the media over the weekend. He wasn't going to ever fulfill any promises anyway. You can't trust his word. So there is really no negotiating with this guy. And this is the way for this to be done. You're at this point, you really don't have another avenue here. And the president, I think the name of the article on Wall Street Journal was, the president was against doing this until he wasn't, And so this is, again, the level of mission here, incredible to witness this. And I remember in the days after the bombing of Iran's nuclear sites, and by the way, there's also word coming out in recent hours that Iran is basically on their knees, that they don't have resources. The regime's trying to hold everything together. There's word last week.
Saw the protest.
Yeah, there was word yes, lots of protesters. The word last week that, they were, the word is they're rebuilding. And Trump said, well, if they try to rebuild, we'll take them out again. This is, we've been saying that all along. But then the word on Sunday and it really started to heat up late Sunday that the regime really is they don't have any resources. They need, they're trying to get help from everybody. Maduro, by the way, was part of that help. This is another threat that Maduro was a huge threat to not only support Iran, Israel, get drugs to the U.S. I'm sorry, Iran and Hezbollah. Very important distinction and correction there. Iran and Hezbollah. He was supporting them. He was enriching himself with the 18% of their oil capacity that they were producing. He was enriching himself in order to do that. I think he was probably building up for a time when he could flee and be in exile and also have, billions in the bank somewhere. But the whole point is that there were so many levels of threat, and Venezuela was far too close, and also we had an open border for the last 4 years before Trump came back as a matter of policy that allowed Venezuela to have their way in terms of anybody or anything they wanted to send here, including facilitating members of Hezbollah, who knows? And so this level of threat by Maduro, I don't know if we've properly even measured how great it was.
I think we need to look, for example, because the last audio cut we played was Margaret Brennan from Face the Nation. I think we need to understand that as furious as she was at Marco Rubio, she was furious because we didn't have a wider escalation of a war to take out everybody in Venezuela, that we didn't take out the entire government in a much bigger operation. So we can see that the liberal media now is starting to change, because initially this was unconstitutional.
Yeah, and then it was, why didn't you go the full scale?
Right, exactly.
No, that happened. That curve happened in a matter of hours on Sunday.
I know it did. It's like,
and it was like, wow.
And she was angry.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like she was like, well, why didn't, it would have been too much of an operation. Well, these others are still in power. Why didn't you take them out?
Right.
It's like, and she was so angry. And you know what that anger's from? Not that she's in agreement, not that she really believes that Trump should have gone in and taken out everybody, because I don't believe she believes that.
Right.
It's the fact she's frustrated that she can't make a debate point. That's what it is. She can't make a debate point.
They go live on Sunday morning and they think they've got the goods. And the moment she gets shredded, it is basically done. And I think that was Kristen Welker, right, on NBC, right? Or was he also on CBS?
Oh, he was everywhere.
Oh, what did he go on CBS Sunday morning too? I saw this basically the same conversation with Kristen Welker, not the same, but a similar conversation with Kristen Welker over at NBC.
Would you think any different? They all got the talking.
No. But I just didn't know which audio cut we played earlier.
Yeah, we played Brennan.
Yeah. So it's the entire setup. They go in thinking Sunday morning, oh, they've got the win. We've got the win here. Watch this.
I understand your confusion.
Yeah. They're all the same person.
They both have angry face.
No, everybody did. Someone put up a four-shot of all of the Sunday morning. Oh, my gosh. And it's like, oh, man, that's not a good meme. Yeah, the Sunday morning news shows right now, maybe they need a change in regime.
Well, CBS. We are Red Eye Radio.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. So, and we'll discuss it more, but the goal now of the administration has to be to get free elections or probably get free elections is the goal that you're probably looking to get to, and you do that by strangling the oil. You put quarantine on the oil going out. That's what you do. That's the one thing that's keeping that government in power, and the whole goal has to be, now they know he's serious. Now any of them know that, and we'll get into this too, because this gets into the mistake that a lot of Trump supporters, like Steve Bannon and others, thought that he was an isolationist, and we always said, no, he's not. So we'll get to that.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
Hope you had a great New Year. I made it.
You made it to midnight?
For the first time in 17 years,
Wow.
I made it to the New Year.
Wow.
Now, it was the East Coast New Year.
Now, I made it to the New Year. Now, the wife and I, pretty much about 7:30, we were in bed with YouTube and pizza. And so
7:30.
Yeah. No, it was a long day. But it was like, no, this is great. I don't want to be, what do they call it, amateur hour on New Year's Eve. Actually, I don't know if that's the case anymore. I don't know if people stay home more or not. I haven't looked at any data or stats, but I certainly don't want to be on the road, because I would say probably safe to say higher than normal amount of people who have been partaking or on the road.
It was insane. Did you see the traffic jam on I-35? That because people were stopping to look at the fireworks in Dallas?
It was. What was the headline? I think it was from one of the local news media. It was
people were walking on the highway.
Dallas highways became illegal parking lots during the fireworks.
Yes, it was insane.
That was the headline.
It was like 100. I was looking in Fort Worth. I was in Fort Worth.
Right.
I was in Fort Worth the 30th. I actually socialized.
Wow, you got out.
Yeah. I went out to dinner with a couple of good friends. Richard, who we met, Permatory Richard.
Yes, the word permatory.
Permatory.
That's our buddy Richard Rosso. I've never actually met Richard, but we know. I know of Richard.
Yes.
From his many appearances in the media and his show in the media. That he does as well.
So I dinner with him and the well-known great anchor out of Houston, Amy Davis.
Yeah.
We had dinner on last week, and this was down in Fort Worth.
Yeah. Okay.
And man, it was mobbed. It was mobbed until it got to be about 9 o'clock. Then everything just emptied out completely.
Wow.
Went to the stockyards.
Yeah.
Stockyards section, and everybody was, dressed up in their Halloween cowboy hats and boots and everything else. It's
yeah. Well,
it's like it's funny because I didn't know about parking or anything else, and I took an Uber there.
Yeah.
And it's like I went from normal life. You go from normal life, and all of a sudden you get out of the car at the stockyards, and it's like I'm in a different world.
Well, it's I know a number of ranchers, and they only come into town, on special occasions like that. So they put on their shiny boots and head to town.
No,
so.
But it was great, and Richard and I talked about everything, economics and just you name it, and we talked. It was funny because we got there. It was like about 6:30. And I thought maybe we talked for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And we walk out, say goodbye, waiting for my Uber. I look at it, it's 11:45.
Wow.
Like, oh, my God, we talked for 4 hours over 4. And it was a great conversation. I mean, it was wonderful. So, but I'm just assuming it was, I would not have wanted to be out there on New Year's Eve, but I thought I was going to make it. I was like, okay, I got nothing to do. Because normally, so many of the times that you and I work together, if we're working, if it's New Year's Eve, we work the next day.
Right.
If a normal day, normally we come back and work.
Right.
But since where it fell, we didn't.
Right.
And by 11:15, I just said I can't do it. And I made the decision about 10:30. I said I'll make it to East Coast. There
you go.
I was in Central, so I'll make it to East Coast. But I was on the East Coast for a while. I was in for a few days to see Dad, and it was a great Christmas.
You got a great video of him you posted.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks
Beautiful.
to so many listeners who posted. I posted a video, and you can check it out at Gary Red Eye 1 on our Twitter page. And it's my father singing Silent Night with my brother. And then I was taking the video. My sister was behind it. My brother-in-law came up. And it was funny. It was just started organically. My brother just started, with my father. I don't even know how it started. But I turned around, and they were singing Silent Night.
Yeah.
And my brother-in-law said, Gary, phone, camera. And I was, that's right.
Yeah.
And I took it, and after I took it was Christmas night, and it wasn't until the day after when I went back and I talked to both of my sisters and my brother, and I said, should I post this? Because one of the things that you worry about, I mean, it's that you always worry about their privacy and dignity and all that. It's something that we all think of.
Yeah, yeah.
You think of it. I said, and I asked them, and they said, you know something? In our culture and in our society, with so many people believing that, elderly people are, basically throwaway. We go back to Robert Reich back in 2007, 2008 at Berkeley.
Right.
I just let old people die.
Right.
And one of my sisters said this to me. They said, with the love that you see in there and the happiness that it brought us, and expressing that of my father, who will be 100 years old in April, yes, post it. Yeah. So I didn't do it myself. I did it with the permission of all the siblings and the family, and everybody agreed, post it. So
we kind of go through the same thing with my parents, of because as the part-time caretakers, non-professional caretakers, I'll say, you want to first of all consult with each other and say, okay, you're going through, you're experiencing something, and do I put this on social media? I don't post a lot about it, if anything, on social media. Millions of families go through this, but you're right. You want to consult with your siblings about what's going to be out there. I know my sister, who is more than part-time, non-professional caretaker there. And we had some issues over the holidays. Everybody is doing much better, mom and dad both. But you're concerned. It's about how much of this should I share, but it was a beautiful video,
isn't it? Yeah, it really is. And I just part of my thought process in even asking them was, I've been so open about the relationship I had with my late mom and my dad for such a long time.
Yeah.
Where I just knew that family, friends, and especially listeners, that they would appreciate it. And everyone did.
Right.
I didn't get one negative comment.
Right. Yeah.
And
because the greatest concern is dignity, for our parents and loved ones.
And my sister said, if you told Dad the reason that you were posting it, would he want you to post it? We all went, yep.
Yeah.
We
It was beautiful.
Yeah,
It was beautiful.
Yeah, if you want to check it out at Gary Red Eye, Gary Red Eye 1. And thank you for all the. I haven't been able to head in time to get to all the comments and just thank everybody for it. But it's at Gary Red Eye 1, and I think it's the last thing that I posted last week of my father. But it's just such a great moment. It was, and that's the one thing that I have realized, both with the death of my mom 5 years ago and what my father's going through now, that you can go through the worst thing in your life, and still find moments of absolute incredible joy that just fills your heart with love. And that was one of those moments that I had with my dad. And I've talked about my dad so much.
Yeah.
Where when I get emails, like I've read a couple of weeks ago, Gary, I'll forget everything that you and Eric said 20 years from now, but I will not forget DTJ and people want to be BS.
Yeah, exactly. Things your dad has said,
And by the way, I did read that. I did read that to my father.
Yeah.
When he was in, and he has great moments of good cognitive abilities, and other times not. Other times you're like, will I ever be able to talk to him again? And then all of a sudden, boom, there he is.
Right.
So he really appreciated it, and still the best one was when I read that to him a couple of weeks ago. Not when I was back Christmas, but I told him about that email, and I said, "Yep, Dad." He said, "But I remember DTJ," and my father said, "No, it's not DTJ." Which meant do the job, which my brother and I mainly were complaining. We don't want to do it. DTJ. And he goes, "It's not DTJ, it's DTJN." And I went, "DTJN? I don't remember that." He said, "Do the job." And then he paused and he went, "Now!"
I love it. I love it. Well, it is. You see those moments. My dad has been battling an illness for over 3 years now. No cognitive issues at this point, but you do slow down, and we've often talked about the similarities in our fathers, their minds. Your father an engineer, my father an investigator, and so it's the same kind of analysis and all of that, and that analytic mind is just a beautiful thing. My mom has been battling dementia, but also very severe physical limitations. And that, along with my mother-in-law, and you go through those moments of, where there is not an awareness, but then those moments, those beautiful moments when they're there with you. And it's it makes those moments sweeter. Had a similar situation with my mother-in-law with Christmas carols. Man, she's a great singer. Used to back in the day, sit out in the carport with her, with her brother and a guitar and her husband, and the whole neighborhood would just sit there, and come up in the evening on a weekend and just sit there and they'd sing. And so Christmas carols, that just it's always something special. And those are the moments, again, that become sweeter as you go through situations like this.
And you do realize, one thing that we've recognized, and my sisters especially, because they're there more than I am, but they always sing to my dad, and my dad knows all the lyrics.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It's like music hits a different part of
the
brain.
It does.
And
it
it's
really
just
does.
Amazing that, and he's not the, I started doing some research on it. It's like, music hits a different part of the brain.
When Glenn Campbell was on his last tour, one thing that his children were part of his band.
Oh, I remember. I saw the documentary on that tour.
And there were moments where he would start a song that they had just played, and then his daughter would say, "Oh, Dad, we've already played that one." He says, "Well, I love it so much, we're going to play it again." But when he started the song, he didn't miss a beat. When he was singing and playing, it was such a deep part of him that he, according to his family, never lost. And there is something about music, even non-professional musicians, it's that connection in your brain. And we often see that with people who suffer from dementia, that music makes that connection.
And we'll be outside his room, just be outside his room, leave him for a couple minutes, and he'll start singing on his own.
Yeah.
And you just sit there. Everybody sits at the door going, wow.
Yeah.
He's getting every word of the lyrics correct.
Right. Yeah.
You're like, wow. I mean, and like I said, though, it's if you thought about it every day, as a lot of people ask me, I say the worst thing is it's become the new normal, and the best thing is it's become the new normal.
Yeah.
If that makes any kind of sense.
Well, because there's a process, and it's a long-running grieving process for the family.
Right, but you're able to, when it becomes a new normal, you're able to enjoy the special, great moments. That's what I mean by that.
Those are cherished greatly, and you won't forget them. Those are the things where when a listener says that, those are the things that I'll remember. Well, when you're creating these moments, that's what it's all about. Recently, we had all of my 4 other siblings under the roof just days before Christmas at my parents' house, and it was the first time in years that had happened, and it was very special. It was very special, and Mom and Dad were having a good day. So it was beautiful, and you just have to. Those are the moments where you really have to stop and live in that moment.
And you go through your whole life with them, so there's so many days.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, to have this focus on a day or a moment or an hour or 5 minutes,
right,
and have it become such a major portion of your life in a positive way,
right,
is something that I didn't expect.
Right. Yeah.
And I got that with my mom before she passed away 5 years ago, and I'm getting it with my dad now. And it's just, it shows that you learn all the time. Doesn't matter how old you are. You're always learning about life and the beautiful moments of life and the tragic moments of life, both of them.
Yeah.
But to be able to appreciate the beautiful moments of life, and it's my entire family with my father appreciating it.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Is just the best thing.
Right.
It really is just the best
so
thing.
Many other small things fall away, and they say don't sweat the small stuff. And in these moments, the things from the past, the small things that, here and there, they all fall away and everything comes together. Everybody comes together. And that's another beautiful moment as that happens.
We are Red Eye Radio.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Eric, I want to play this audio cut from Venezuelan journalist Germania Rodriguez Palacio, who had this to say, I guess to the left. Here we go.
All right.
Now a message to my English-speaking friends, because I'm already seeing people are organizing protests, hands off Venezuela, let's defend Maduro, we love dictators. Do not, for a moment, let your hatred and disdain for Donald Trump, an unsavory character, have you defending the dictator of my country that was destroyed by him and Chavez and their system 20 years ago. We Venezuelans are very, very happy that our dictator has been arrested, removed, and will be put through a trial. It's the first time we're seeing justice in 26 years. Now let's hope that they get the rest of the criminals out of Venezuela.
And, that's that's always the next thing, like whether we're looking at Iran, Israel, Gaza, whatever. And the president seemed, with the visit when we were gone from Netanyahu, to totally back him again. He's not at all complimenting Russia when it comes to the whole Ukraine situation.
Right.
Now it's like, what do you do here? More of that coming up next.
Catch Red Eye Radio live every night on the Red Eye Radio app, available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Welcome. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. Now, we already, and really not a lot of discussion on it because it's easy to defend that what the president did was constitutional, and it's easy to see the hypocrisy of the media and other politicians as to what they had said just a couple of years ago during Trump's first term, that he should take out Maduro, which is just fascinating. The question is, what do we do now? This is Secretary of State Marco Rubio talking to George Stephanopoulos yesterday on the Sunday morning news shows.
He said the United States is going to run Venezuela. Under what legal authority?
Well, first of all, what's going to happen here is that we have a quarantine on their oil. That means their economy will not be able to move forward until the conditions that are in the national interest of the United States and the interest of the Venezuelan people are met. And that's what we intend to do. So that leverage remains. That leverage is ongoing. And we expect that it's going to lead to results here. We're hopeful that it does. Positive results for the people of Venezuela, but ultimately, most importantly for us, in the national interest of the United States. We will no longer have, hopefully, as we move forward here, we'll set the conditions so that we no longer have in our hemisphere a Venezuela that's the crossroads for many of our adversaries around the world, including Iran and Hezbollah, is no longer sending us drug gangs, is no longer sending us drug boats, is no longer a narco-trafficking paradise for all those drugs coming out of Colombia to go in through the Caribbean and towards the United States. And obviously, we want a better future for the people of Venezuela. We want them to have an oil industry where the wealth goes to the people, not to a handful of corrupt individuals and stolen by, pirates all over the world. That's what we're working towards, and we intend to use the leverage we have to help achieve that.
Let me ask the question again. What is the legal authority for the United States to be running Venezuela?
Well, I explained to you what our goals are and how we're going to use the leverage to make it happen. As far as what our legal authority is on the quarantine, I'm very simple. We have court orders. These are sanctioned boats, and we get orders from courts to go after and seize these sanctions. So I don't know, is a court not a legal authority?
So is the United States running Venezuela right now?
Well, I've explained once again, I'll do it one more time. What we are running is the direction that this is going to moving forward. And that is, we have leverage. This leverage we are using and we intend to use. We started using already. You can see where they are running out of storage capacity. In a few weeks, they're going to have to start pumping oil unless they make changes. And that leverage that we have with the armada of boats that are currently positioned allow us to seize any sanctioned boats coming into or out of Venezuela, loaded with oil or on its way in to pick up oil, and we can pick and choose which ones we go after. We have court orders for each one. That will continue to be in place until the people who have control over the levers of power in that country make changes that are not just in the interest of the people of Venezuela, but are in the interest of the United States and the things that we care about. That's what we intend to do. The legal authority is the court orders that we have.
When the president was asked yesterday who will be running Venezuela, he said it was you, he said it was the defense secretary, he said it was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Are you running Venezuela right now?
George, I've explained again that the leverage that we have here is the leverage of the quarantine. So that is a Department of War operation, conducting, in some cases, law enforcement functions with the Coast Guard on the seizure of these boats. I'm obviously very intricately involved in these policies. And by the way, very intricately involved in moving forward and what we hope to see some of these changes being addressed. Unfortunately, the person that was there before, who was not the legitimate president of the country, was someone we could not work with, was someone that we could not. He had already suckered the Biden administration a couple of years ago on a deal he didn't keep, and this is someone we simply couldn't work with. We are hopeful that there are people in place now. We're going to find out The proof will be in what they do or fail to do that will start making some of these changes that will ultimately lead to a Venezuela that looks substantially and dramatically different from what's been in place for 15 years. But our number one objective is America. We care about Venezuela. We want it to do well moving forward. But our number one objective here is America. No more drugs, no more trained at agua gangs coming our direction, and no more an area of the country in our hemisphere that becomes a crossroads for every single adversary we have around the world. Hezbollah, Iran, all of them have turned it into their playground.
So you see what's going on in the media. They took Trump's, 3 words,
right.
We'll be running it. And, well, again, the way he used the words might not have been the best describer of what's going on.
With Trump,
but,
you have to read between the lines, basically, and the details are very clear with Marco Rubio.
Right. You don't need to read between the lines when Marco Rubio starts
right.
talking.
Because he's talking about the leverage, again, that they have. Right. And so there is an order here on the movement of that oil, and that's the leverage they're using in order to run things. And the idea would be is to encourage the VP who was sworn in to move in the right direction toward legitimate elections and a government being put into place. That's all they can do, or that's all they have immediate plans for right now. And we know that Rodriguez, the vice president, in recent hours, has changed her tone. She posted a statement, which is a very different tone. And that's important because he may be saying the same thing to her behind the scenes, or somebody maybe. But it would be likely, you can go live in exile and we won't do this to you.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that to exactly where I was going when we talk. Right.
And before that happens, you do our will here, and our will is to get to free elections so that a legitimate government can be in place. You're not going to be there. Marco Rubio did say that at some point on one of the, 1,900 appearances he made on Sunday. But he said that at some point. She's not a legitimate president. Don't make that mistake. However, again, if she wants to cooperate in the way that Trump was extending that opportunity to Maduro and had been for months, look, you can leave on your own and live in exile. You can get on your own plane of choosing and go live in, Tehran or somewhere else. Or we can make that happen. We can bring justice to you.
Well,
this may be, that is likely what they're telling her at the moment, the former vice president, who says she's now president, and she swore her allegiance to Maduro early in the day on Sunday, and by late Sunday was saying, we're going to have a cooperative and respectful process with the United States. And we'll see what her next move is.
Because, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because that was the next point I was going to bring up, that you talk about, well, how do you convince them to do it? Can you do it just by quarantining the oil? Well, that's part of it. But the other part of it, the strongest part of it, is exactly what you said. We got the top guy and his wife. We didn't have one casualty because of it.
Right.
We can get you.
Right.
You are in our sights. We can get you and bring you to stand trial.
Yep.
Even the liberals, like Margaret Brennan, agree with us on Face the Nation
exactly.
that we should go after you.
Right.
So we've got approval across the board politically in the United States now to do that. But we can get you. So you either leave and go wherever.
Mm-hmm.
Go Cuba,
wherever.
China,
Russia,
wherever you wish to go. If you wish to go, this is the time period. In the next month, all of you must leave, the opposition leader or whatever,
Right.
free elections take place. You print in some international group to do whatever the international election group is. I forgot their name. Whatever. Remember, Jimmy Carter used to be a part of that all the time.
Yeah.
And that can be done where it is set up for you to have free elections, or the opposition leader who was, we believe, the duly elected president will take over and have a coalition government until the next free election comes within the next year.
Right.
But if you don't get out, because the oil itself may not be enough to get them to relieve power, but if you tell them you're next, the next one, it's like when a mob leader. Well, it's like when the new ISIS leader comes in.
Yeah,
I'm the new ISIS leader, and then 3 weeks later they're taken out.
Right.
By the West.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay, if you're going to take over, you better be pretty quiet about it because they're going to come after you next. That's what you do. And so Rubio didn't say it at that point. He was using the oil thing, but that's how you're running. You're running things by saying you either do this or you'll be facing trial in the United States next.
Right.
Because there's charges against a significant portion of people in the government that were beneath Maduro, including the vice president. So you're next on the list if you don't give it up.
Right.
And you know we can do it.
Right. And
because we did it relatively easy.
And as the president mentioned, there's a second wave. He said a much bigger wave ready if needed. Make no mistake, this president will follow through so she can live a free life and cooperate or not.
Well, maybe not a totally free life.
Well, it's an exile as opposed to a jail, a prison.
As opposed to a jail cell, exactly. Your choice.
Right.
Jail cell or exile for everybody in your government.
Right.
Because that's that's the goal, and they made it clear the oil isn't for the United States. The oil is for the oil revenue is for the people of Venezuela.
And I'm guessing they would also, as a part of the conditions, it would have to be you need to, in the media, as you're making your exit, you need to make it known. This is what's going to happen next for the people of Venezuela, because you're hoping that she'll help you with stability in that way, that this is what's going to happen in this interim transition. We're going to be leaving, and someone else is going to be coming in, and then the people of Venezuela will take part in a free election, and they will decide their future. And I would, as a part of the conditions, say, we want to see that in the media. We want to see you active in your last moments in Venezuela, getting that message out in order to, again, it's part of hopefully creating as much stability as you can leading up to those elections. I don't know if that would happen, but that would certainly not surprise me if it did.
I sort of, when I woke up and heard about all this, I went, well, you're going to see people, Venezuelans in the United States, celebrating this for the most part.
Yeah.
Be a huge majority. And that's what you've seen.
Yeah, right.
So far. You've seen that.
Right.
Even in Venezuela, they said, oh, what if the president did this for oil? He goes, what do you think China and Iran are doing?
Exactly. Like, what do you think?
But we're not. But
they
want
us war.
But that's not going to happen.
Right.
We're not taking their assets.
No,
they made that clear. Well, the American people don't want to take the assets. Trump doesn't want to take the assets. Rubio doesn't want to take the assets.
No.
We want a stable. Did you hear instead of the Monroe Doctrine, the Donroe Doctrine?
The Donroe.
The Donroe Doctrine.
No, when I first read that, I was like, what's a Donroe? Oh, that's a play on words.
And just so people know, Monroe Doctrine from 1823, I think, which is you don't mess with our side of the hemisphere. It was actually a policy of the United States towards Europe and England way back then.
Right. Yes.
And now it's the Donroe Doctrine,
the Donroe,
which is you don't come in if you're an enemy of the United States, you don't come in and try to gain control over a significant portion of this hemisphere. And again, maybe they should rewrite it to the Don Road Doctrine.
Exactly. Exactly.
I saw they yesterday burst out laughing for that one.
Mm-hmm.
But you can even see the media changing on it. I was watching, get the audio cut coming up here. It was John Brennan on with Peppermint Patty.
Oh, yeah.
With Jen Psaki.
Right.
And he was like, oh, this is a great thing.
Right.
Brennan.
Yeah.
It's a great thing.
Right.
We are Red Eye Radio.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. You know, what the one thing I thought of, this thing was done, this military operation was so incredibly smooth, and they talked about it. You know, the CIA, I mean, the human intelligence we have on the ground has to be mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I mean, you know as well as I do. And then that's why it's the president, even though they're not saying it publicly, they may say it publicly, but maybe somebody said it, but the fact of threatening, saying, you're next.
Yeah.
You come back to the
That's
United
a big
States, you stand
motivator.
trial. You either do what we tell you or you're next.
Right. That's it.
And you want exile? Take it.
Right.
But you get out or you're next, and you know we can do it.
Yep.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.